5 months ago, I had ranked all the admirals from weakest to strongest, and 1 month ago, I ranked all of the Yonko from weakest to strongest as well. And now in this video, I will be going over and ranking all of the Warlords from weakest to strongest. But before I get into the rankings, I would like to explain some characters I'll be talking about, since there are some people within the Warlords that have either stayed, resigned, or were invited, etc. And on this note, I have added Ace to the list because he was considered a candidate for the position, and I've never talked about Ace before and I really do want to, so that's why I have him added. And I also added Weevil to this list, and although Weevil is already or was a part of the Warlord system, he doesn't really have a lot of feats, so if people normally talk about this topic, they wouldn't normally bring him up, but I want to bring him up anyway, so yeah. And as obvious as this is, I'll say this anyway for those that might ask. I'll be ranking them based off of feats and statements and not my personal opinion. And with that being said, please do leave a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, and comment to let me know your thoughts and opinions. And with all of this being said, let's get into the rankings and start at number 12.
Of course not. We are going to give them the fight of their lives! It's time to get flashy! You cowards!
I can already see y'all commenting now. Buggy is the strongest, Buggy is Yonko level, Buggy solos. But no, Buggy is honestly not that strong and hasn't been portrayed as such at all. Even if you want to use the statement of Buggy being quote unquote definitely within the world's strongest class, it doesn't hold up since the picture shows a joke moment from Buggy, and you have Whitebeard not thinking much of Buggy himself and saying how the convicts that he had following him were much more dangerous than him. And he got beat up by pre-time skip Luffy, got off screen a few times by both Mihawk and Crocodile, was getting pressed by the admirals during Marineford, and much more. With all this being said, it's easy to tell that Buggy really isn't just that strong, and the trolling of him being this really powerful guy has to stop. And this is why I have Buggy at the bottom of the list.
Hey you, clown nose. What the hell did you just say to me? Are you cruising for a bruising punk? I take it back! It can't be! Curse you! How dare you! I'll make every last one of you pay!
At number 11 is Gecko Moria, and to put it bluntly, he's not really that strong either. Although in the past he was able to battle against the younger Kaido, it doesn't really matter because this was before the story began, and we don't even know how strong younger Moria or younger Kaido actually are, so we aren't able to use this as a feat. Plus, Moria lost to Kaido anyway and has been shown to have gotten a lot weaker since then. The only scaling Moria has is to a pre-time skip Thriller Bark Luffy, who in all honesty isn't really that strong compared to later versions of himself in the pre-time skip, and has scaling that is just above Buggy, and I just don't really see him beating anyone above him on this list, which is why I have him at number 11.
In this dark realm, one of ghosts and ghouls, this place we call Thriller Bark, they are going to see nothing short of a nightmare to end all nightmares!
Flame commandment! Flame emperor! Let's fight against darkness, huh? Or die trying.
At number 10 is Ace, and he's a bit weird to talk about since he has some outlier feats, but nonetheless I do want to talk about and go over said feats and why I have Ace in this spot. So to start, Ace scales to both of Sea Stone base Yamato sometime before he joined the Whitebeard Pirates. This takes place during the pre-time skip but before the main portion of the story in the pre-time skip. They showed constant relativity throughout their entire fight, even though Yamato had Sea Stone cuffs on and was nerfed, and also couldn't use her double fruit. And in the Ace novel, he was able to constantly clash with and show relativity to a much healthier Whitebeard, and even eventually get him to use his double fruit during their 46th battle forward on. Although this Whitebeard is much healthier than the Whitebeard we see in the manga on his medication and at Marineford, he is still far from his prime power, and even at this current point in time, he still needs his medication to survive. Not to mention Ace being able to clash with Aokiji right after being freed from his Sea Stone cuffs, which weaken and turn off someone's double fruit abilities, and he was able to clash with Akainu's Magma for a short period, although Akainu had the stronger double fruit, And it's also implied that Ace, even weakened, was still stronger than Marineford Luffy, who had access to his Gear 3rd. And again in the Ace novel, Ace and Shanks met each other and Ace was able to resist Shanks' Conqueror's Haki. Now y'all know how dangerous Shanks' Conqueror's Haki is. He's gonna really unleash his Haki Susanoo if y'all... I can't do this. But in all seriousness though, I don't have Ace higher on this list because, as I said before, a lot of these feats are outliers and they're just so random and they don't match up with what Ace has actually been shown doing in the manga or in the series as a whole. So that's why I didn't put Ace higher on this list. The other reason why I didn't put Ace higher on this list is because he only seems to have access to Armament Haki and Conquerors. But what makes this worse for him is that he actually can't even use either. Ace has never been shown using Armament Haki at all, so if he were to battle anyone on this list where it would probably be required, not even probably, where it would be required to use Armament Haki, he wouldn't use it in battle, and this would make him lose really, really bad. And Ace also cannot control his Conqueror's Haki either, and this is something that is super beneficial to him that he just can't control, so this again would also mess him up and also is why I have him lower on the list. And with all of this said, this is why I have Ace at number 10.
お前は昔からそうさ、ルビー。俺の言うこともろくに聞かねえで。
At number 9 is Crocodile, and he's also a difficult case just like Ace is. Crocodile was relative to and able to match a Gear 3rd Luffy during Marineford, which for those that don't know gives Luffy at the lowest a 10 times multiplier to his AP. And he was able to clash with and show relativity to Doflamingo, who during the war was able to fight against Whitebeard commanders with relative ease. And he easily speed blitzed and got rid of Little Orange Juniors for a little bit. And he clashed with and stopped an attack from Mihawk, who during Marineford was relative to but slightly weaker than Whitebeard when he arrived at Marineford. Crocodile also has a bounty of 1.3 billion during the post-time skip and was said to have been from his Devil Fruit and his strength alone, which is supported since Crocodile told Luffy he is always honing his skills and training his Devil Fruit abilities, which would make him stronger over time. This also supports his strength being greater than Marineford, since Mihawk actually thought it was a good idea to ally himself with Crocodile. Now, even though this seems like a good case to make Crocodile higher on the list, the problem is that we actually haven't seen any feats from him at all since the pre-time skip. Like, we have no feats from him during the post-time skip. Like, the only thing he's done was probably like beat up some random fodder Marines, but that's really it. So because of this, that's actually stopping me from putting him higher on the list. With what he actually has been shown doing and what he does have, this kind of puts him above Ace, but that's really all I could give him until he actually has some feats. So if you want to have him higher on the list, that's completely up to you guys. I just have him here. So this is why I have him at number 9.
You bastard! I thought it would be advantageous to have you.
ウルススショック。
And at number 8, I have Kuma. And it's seriously getting annoying how many people on this list are going to be confusing to talk about. But let's get into it. So the reason I have Kuma above all the people mentioned before is because of his Devil Fruit, the Paw Paw Fruit. This Devil Fruit is able to repel anything it touches. And when I say anything, it can literally just repel anything. It can repel non-physical things as well, like pain or fatigue. And although it isn't quite confirmed, Kuma is able to seemingly teleport and instantly move around however he pleases. And to go into his feats, he's actually undefeated during the pre-time skip. But the problem is that his feats are only within the pre-time skip. And we didn't see much of him or what he could do in battle besides these few moments. But for what he has done, he was able to easily battle and defeat every single Straw Hat at Sabaody Archipelago. The Straw Hats during this time were at the peak of their power during the pre-time skip. This is true because arcs prior Zoro stated that the Straw Hats go from island to island. They all grow much stronger each time. Kuma was also able to defend the Straw Hat's ship for 2 years straight with seemingly little to no rest from all sorts of pirates, and even one-shot at Little Oars Jr. with Urash's shot during Marineford. And he was able to blitz in between Old Rayleigh and Kizaru's battle while they were in close quarters combat. Now, I typically wouldn't say he can actually normally do this because they were kind of focused on each other during the battle, so you could argue that this was off guard. And this pretty much is all the relevant stuff with Kuma. He hasn't really done anything major of note recently in the manga, so this is why I have him at number 8.
Now come, Shut your mouth! The screaming fury in my heart has rendered me deaf to your words. How dare you pin my beloved down with your boorish club and threaten him! You will die for your actions. I've never felt this angry in my entire life. I'll feed you piece by piece to wild animals!
And at number 7, I have Boa Hancock, and I will admit she can be higher, but the problem is that, again, just like a few of the people before, she just doesn't have enough feats or enough good feats to place her higher. Boa has the love fruit, and this double fruit allows her to turn anyone, man or woman, into stone if they find her attractive or have any impure thoughts about her. This double fruit is especially powerful because even in the case of death, the petrification that it releases or that it activates can't be lifted and can only be reversed by the original user themselves. There seems to be 2 different versions of the ability that Boa has. The first is what I just described before, which is a passive ability, like just thinking impure thoughts about her or just finding her attractive or being lustful can turn you into stone. And the second is her firing love arrows at targets, which is manual, that she can actually choose who to fire off at. And in Boa's Weevil card, she is said to possess all 3 types of Haki: armament, observation, and conquerors, and was said to be the most beautiful woman in the world, and her strength rivals how beautiful she actually is. Couple this with her having all 3 types of Haki, and she is one of the most powerful people in the series so far. As far as her feats go though, the only notable things that she has done so far was beat up pre-time skip pacifistas, she beat up Smoker during the pre-time skip, and was also able to turn 2 of Blackbeard's Titanic captains, Vasco Shot and Katarina Devon, into stone. And Blackbeard doesn't think that there's any man that can resist her charm, and he had to use his Yami fruit to nullify Boa's powers just to even be able to touch her or get his hands on her. And this is all of Boa's relevant scaling and why I have her at number 7.
わらわたちが桜花七部会になったのは強さゆえじゃということを。
For the number 6 spot is Doflamingo. We don't get to see much of him during the pre-time skip aside from the moments I mentioned of him during Crocodile section, but we do see more of him during Dressrosa. To begin, Doflamingo was able to beat up Law, who was relative to him in strength and speed, although on the lower end. And he was so powerful that he forced Luffy during Dressrosa to activate Gear 4th, and was able to battle against and outlast Luffy's first Gear 4th transformation, which is substantially more powerful than his Gear 3rd transformation, which, as I said before, is a 10 times increase to his strength. And even when he entered Gear 4th the second time against Doflamingo, he was able to momentarily clash with him again before being overpowered, despite him being heavily fatigued and also seriously injured. And yeah, that's like all of the important stuff that he had. Like, I actually reread Dressrosa, and that's pretty the only impressive thing he's done. So, and he's currently locked up and impaled down, so he's not doing anything anytime soon. So that's why I have him at number 6.
Oi, Tro! お前なんでドフラミンゴ
As of now, I am departing your crew. Because it is my intention to join the Straw Hats.
And at number 5 is Jinbe, and the reason why I have him over Doflamingo is because, like I said earlier, the Straw Hats grow stronger from island to island, and during Whole Cake Island, Jinbe was able to repeatedly react to and clash with Big Mom. People try and downplay this feat, but I don't really know why, to be honest. It's just blatantly shown in various panels that Jinbe is just showing relativity to Big Mom, although on the lower end. And Big Mom is without a doubt stronger than Doflamingo, and I really do hope that you guys do not think Doflamingo could beat Big Mom in a fight. Like, I really just hope not. But he's able to block Big Mom's attacks with armament Haki. He can react to and dodge her attacks as well. and even somewhat damage her with his attacks. And this was Big Mom in her homie form, which makes her much faster than her in her base, and he was still doing this. And Jinbe got stronger than this during Wano, and although he fought against Who's Who and many people believe Who's Who is weaker than Doflamingo, Jinbe should be stronger than his Dressrosa self during the Wano arc, and he should also be stronger than his Wano arc self during the Egghead arc, but we'd have to see more of the arc for me to say that. And this is why I have Jinbe at the number 5 spot.
人呼んで海峡のジンベ
まったく許せねえ。ウェーブラー、やっちまっていいよ。ぶっ殺そう。
Now, this is gonna be so annoying. At number 4 is Edward Weevil, and this is about to piss a lot of people off, so let me explain. Although Kizaru stated that Weevil has strength by the way, that's equal to Prime Whitebeard, his feats are mostly off screen, and he fought against and lost the Green Bull off screen as well. I kid you not, that's the only thing he's done. Like, he's fought Whitebeard commanders, but we don't really know how strong they are, and we also didn't see the fights, so we can't use this for scaling. And Green Bull is an admiral, so unless you're trying to tell me that Prime Whitebeard doesn't have strength against admirals, I don't know. But yeah, so this is just why I have him at number 4. I don't even really want to talk about this anymore, so yeah.
Chrome.
And number 3 is Trafalgar D. Law. Now, Law had gotten a big power boost, especially when he awakened his Devil Fruit. Law alongside Kid was able to damage and defeat Big Mom, who was stated to not be inferior to the Admirals. And in one of the One Piece magazines, it was stated that Big Mom was using her full might on Law and Kid, with Law contributing 50% of the damage to Big Mom. With his awakening, he was able to significantly damage Big Mom, with her actually being worried about his attacks and her saying that she has to actively watch out for his moves. And on Winter Island, when Law and Blackbeard fought, Law was able to damage and battle against Blackbeard, who is not only a Yonko as well, but is said to be the world's strongest pirate too. And although the rest of the battle was off screen and Law was defeated on the ground, Law had Blackbeard very bloodied and bruised, so he seemed to have done a decent job during the fight. And with all this being said, this is why I have Law at the number 3 spot. For number 2, I have Blackbeard, and there is a lot to dissect with him, so I'll get started. To start, Blackbeard has been stated numerous times to be the world's strongest pirate after taking the Quake Fruit from Whitebeard, has statements of his Devil Fruit as well being the strongest power, and other statements like him reigning over the New World, and his Viva card asking if there's even anyone that's actually capable of defeating him in battle. Along with him battling against Law, he was also ready to face Luffy and Kid as well, knowing that they defeated Big Mom and Kaido, meaning that by proxy, Blackbeard would also be able to fight against and defeat those two as well. And Blackbeard and Shanks have their own rivalry going on, so these two also have scaling to each other, and this is why I have Blackbeard sitting at the number 2 spot on this list.
エースの墓前じゃよくよく礼を言うんだな。あいつが現れなかったら本来死んでたのはおめえだ、麦わら。
Wait, are you seriously gonna use that?
I'm not the kind of beast who uses all his might when he's hunting down a rabbit. Unfortunately, this is the smallest blade I have on me right now.
And finally, for number 1, I have the world's strongest swordsman, Dracul Mihawk. Now, I do want to take the time to address the Mihawk slander and want to hopefully be able to show people that Mihawk is, for one, most definitely the strongest on this list, and 2, to stop people from saying that he's a Shanks victim when he's really not. So to get started, Mihawk is the world's strongest swordsman. This has been stated multiple times throughout various One Piece material. He is the strongest swordsman, the most skilled swordsman, the greatest swordsman with the strongest sword. And there are also many different statements of various different people calling him the strongest swordsman in the series. It's pretty ironic that people just seem to think that he's not when we just have all of these blatant statements. And to go over his quote-unquote anti-feats, that people love to bring up to downplay Mihawk. They'll bring up him clashing equally with Crocodile or his attacks being blocked by Daz Bones and Jozu, and I'll explain these briefly. For those that don't know, there's a technique in the One Piece world called the Breath of All Things, and what this technique does is it allows the swordsman to cut a singular thing, meaning if they only want to cut someone or something in particular, that's the exact thing that they're going to cut. Let's say that Mihawk tries to slash at someone and there's also a tree behind them. Because Mihawk is a master swordsman, and this is something that all master swordsmen should know how to do, he'll only cut the person and not the tree itself, meaning that whatever damage that would happen to the tree wouldn't, because the tree is in Mihawk's primary focus. When you look at the different situations with Mihawk, he is always focusing his attack on someone, and then someone else who he was not trying to attack in the first place comes and stops him. Like for example with Whitebeard, he was trying to use the world's strongest slash, or just a regular slash, on Whitebeard, which means the Breath of All Things was being focused on Whitebeard and won't cut anything else other than him. This allowed Jozu to step in, someone who isn't Whitebeard, and tank and redirect the attack completely. This thing happens so many different times during Marineford. Crocodile coming in to protect Luffy, Daz Bones coming in to protect Luffy, Vista coming in to protect Luffy. All these people that aren't being the focus of Mihawk's attacks are able to redirect or stop his attacks because of the Breath of All Things. We literally see how Daz Bones comes in to stop Mihawk from hitting Luffy, and then when Mihawk says, "Alright, bet, you're my new target," and he actually focuses on him, he literally just one-shots him. I don't get why you people pretend like this event didn't happen, or like Daz Bones is just somehow able to scuttle Mihawk when he doesn't. It just absolutely makes no sense at all. Like, you guys really have to stop. And as for Mihawk being scared of Shanks and ducking him at Marineford, Mihawk literally said why he didn't want to fight Shanks, because he agreed to try and fight Whitebeard during Marineford, and that was it. He never said or agreed to fight Shanks at all. Plus, he's already made it clear that he doesn't want to fight Shanks because he only has one arm. And to address the stuff Mihawk said in chapter 1082, he's saying that he doesn't want to haphazardly start unnecessary conflict between himself and the Yonko without having a plan, because Buggy is trying to join the battle in the race for the One Piece without a plan. So before y'all try to bring up agendas, Mihawk is literally saying that they don't want to start stuff unnecessarily or without a plan and just try to get into unnecessary conflict with the Yonko. And something else that many Shanks fans forget to realize is that Mihawk is stronger than Shanks. This means that whatever feats that Shanks has performed in the series, Mihawk is more than capable of replicating, but even better since he's superior to Shanks. Shanks coming in stopping a Kainu from hitting Kobe, Mihawk could do that too. Shanks clashing with Whitebeard on a ship while he was on medication, Mihawk could do that too. Shanks one-shotting Kid with his railgun arm, Mihawk can do it too. And before people try and disagree with this, Zoro still admitted inferiority to Mihawk even after unlocking Advanced Conqueror's Haki and permanently scarred Kaido with his Ashura technique. This means that because Zoro is still weaker than Mihawk and Mihawk is still stronger than Shanks, that means that Mihawk would be able to damage Kaido with his attacks as well, and would be able to defeat him in battle since he's stronger than Shanks. And Shanks was able to defeat or at least stop Kaido from coming to Marineford during the pre-time skip. Again, another feat that Mihawk would be able to do since he's stronger than Shanks. So I hope I was able to clear up some of those misconceptions and help people try to understand why Mihawk is superior to Shanks, and also why he's the strongest warlord on this list. That's my entire Warlords ranking, and this video actually took a lot of time to make, so I hope you all were able to enjoy the video and learn something new about One Piece. I have made 3 other ranking videos as well, one with the Yonko, one with the Admirals, and one ranking the Norse gods of God of War. So if you want to check those out, they'll be in the description down below. And my Yonko ranking video will be on the screen right now, so if you guys want to click that video and check out how I ranked all the Yonko, please do so. And for the people that's still here on this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and comment if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.